Hello, my name is Arianna Becerril García. I am Executive Director at Redalyc. I am also professor at the Autonomous University of the State of Mexico. Well, thank you very much for the invitation to present at the Open Science School. Unfortunately, I couldn't travel this time, but I prepared this video to present what we are doing in Redalyc, what is Redalyc, how it has been evolving through the years, and how we are committed to advance science as a public good. So thank you very much. And I would like to start by saying that in Redalyc, we somehow inherited this culture of the Latin American region. And maybe you are familiar with this tradition in Latin America of publishing. But if not, I'm going to talk just 1 minute about that. In this ecosystem, because it really works as an ecosystem, we have journals, scientific journals, scholarly journals, operating on in a non-commercial basis. I mean, there's no fees for authors, neither fees for readers. It is also important to highlight that the journal sector is owned by academics. I mean, the research community, universities, research centers are the ones in charging of running journals, but they also own journals. They make decisions around journals. And all this ecosystem is non-profit, and it's mainly public funded. So what I would like to describe this ecosystem as a different layer system, where you can see in the bottom the community, which is very, very strong, composed of thousands of journals, accompanied by publisher institutions. And within these institutions, they have normally different ways of sustaining these journals. As you can see now, we have almost 15,000 online journals in the Latin American region, which more or less, out of which 4,000 are quality certified journals. And we have different open infrastructures that are playing a role, different roles. I mean, for example, we have Latindex, which is the main regional index for quality selection of journals, but also is a directory, a very comprehensive directory of open access journals in the region. So we have this platform that is very useful for locating a journal, but also to assess if the journal is of quality. They also do a very impressive job in terms of identifying predatory journals. So we have Latindex, but we also have, for example, Redalyc, the one that I'm going to describe today, that provides other services, not only for publishers, not only for journals, but also for readers, for the research community, and also for decision makers around publishing. I mean, funders, governments, and bibliometricians, for example, because we also provide metrics, and I will talk more about this in a minute. So together, these infrastructures, together with the community of academics, and with also the support of institutions and different platforms at institutional level, but also at national level, we have been building an ecosystem that is sustained by the community. This is also very interrelated to the repositories at different levels as well. For example, the collaboration between La Referencia and Redalyc. La Referencia is the regional network of national networks of repositories that also integrates all the content from institutional repositories. So it's very interesting how we can have these different platforms, infrastructures, websites at different levels, so they can all work together to provide different added value services for sustaining the publishing sector, but also for providing visibility, quality, and also accessibility for readers. So in the Redalyc approach, we would like to think of Diamond open access journals as public goods, together with open infrastructures, repositories, open data, open content, open source software, open AI, and many other components of digital public goods, as the Digital Public Goods Alliance already mentioned. But we would like to think that Diamond open access journals and, of course, articles published in them are also public goods. And if we keep that in mind, then we focus all our services and our activities exactly on that paradigm. So we in Redalyc, we look for the community or to call for the community to make or to contribute responsibly to the sustainability of these public goods in order to be, long-term public goods. But also we work for providing universal benefits, universal access, for example, for readers, but also universal service for authors, for the researchers to publish in these public goods. So everybody can benefit from these public goods, but also we require and we demand that everybody contributes back to the sustainability of these public goods. Well, now let's move on to what we do in Redalyc. So Redalyc is an infrastructure that supports academic and nonprofit scholarly publishing. Actually, we are committed, or we only indexed Diamond Open Access journals from 2018, because we have seen how the other business models around publishing are dominating some parts of the world, and we couldn't like to spend our investments in journals that are charging authors or readers. So we are totally exclusively committed to working with Diamond Open Access journals. And what we do is provide technology and share knowledge and different services for these journals to be more visible, but also to be more sustainable, to be more recognized, and to also raise quality around Diamond Open Access journals. This is our numbers today. We have a little bit more than 1,700 index journals. We work as a directory of Diamond Open Access journals, of quality Diamond Open Access journals. I will talk about our quality criteria in a minute. But we also host the full text of all these journals. We offer this service of hosting the full text, and we do that because we work also for some vulnerable journals that they don't have the resources, or they are located in countries with different difficulties around having their contents online. So Redalyc is not an aggregator. Actually, Redalyc hosts the full text in different file formats, as you will see. I mean, in PDF, of course, the traditional one, but also in EPUB, in HTML, and also in XML under the standard JATS. We have, these journals from around I think almost 800 publishing institutions. All of them are non-commercial institutions, mainly academic, but also governmental, or sometimes we have journals from the health sector, and the health sector Also, we can find institutions as hospitals, for example, research centers, as publishers. So we have this kind of publishers in the platform from 31 countries, almost 1 million full text articles, and we are providing a service of more than 100,000 downloads per year. So I think this is a very important contribution to the community of readers, which is composed of students, higher educational students, but the general public as well. Our approach is to add value and secure quality to our journals. So we help journals to improve the visibility, discoverability in different platforms, but also to provide different technology around the editorial workflow for journals in order to be more sustainable, in order to avoid outsourcing to commercial companies, these processes, so the journal can be made in a more sustainable way. This is our architecture of services and our main goals. Also, we work for capacity building. We also provide different services in terms of research assessment. We work for the integration of diamond open access and green open access. We also work for the discoverability of the content among libraries and aggregators worldwide. And we also work with preservation standards. We are very focused on, our services have this transversal feature of multilingualism, because we believe that local languages have a lot to provide to the global conversation of science. So we must respect local languages, and our services actually account for that. And we work in different layers of services. The first one is the quality criteria and journal assessment. And then we provide these editorial workflow tools for doing the typesetting automatically, but also to get different file formats, including the XML JATs. And also we provide different full text retrieval web pages and search engines at different levels. And we also provide different channels of interoperability, like the protocol for metadata harvesting, but some others that are used by repositories, directories, search engines, content aggregators, library OPACs, and more. And we also provide different metrics at different levels, so decision makers can have information on what is being published in Diamond, and their communities of researchers, how they are performing on publishing in Diamond. And we also provide different semantic collections, actually based on the Sustainable Development Goals, with linked open data access point, as you will see. So we work for, our services are directed to authors, but also to universities, libraries, journal editors, governments, funders, and everybody can have this benefit. These services are free of cost, are totally open, of course. This is just a quick glance of our editorial workflow for Diamond Open Access journals through a couple of tools, which is Redalyc and America XML. And these services are provided by Redalyc and also by the America initiative. All the journals of the Index of Certified Journals of Redalyc and the Index of Journals in Consolidation of America can have access to these tools. These tools are compliant with NISO JATs, but it also implements different PIDs like DOIs, ARC, ROR, ORCID. So journals can have their content in different file formats, but also integrating all the digital object identifiers. We transform with these tools the traditional workflow, where some time is spent, and also and sometimes some journals outsource this process, and it is expensive for the journals to hire, for example, external services to do this job. So this is why we are providing this service for the journals that are willing to do this job within their editorial teams, within the institution, without having to outsource these processes. So it works once they have the accepted version of the article after peer review, then they do the XML tagging aided by AI in Redalyc or in America XML, and then they can have automatically the PDF, HTML, EPUB, and all the file formats, the output file formats, and they can be uploaded to OJS. So we have our measure is that we save significantly time in doing the process, but also we save costs in terms of the people that is investing time in doing this job. So for Redalyc, it's also very important to, the quality assurance, quality selection. We have a methodology and a quality criteria that is also automated in a system that we have in Redalyc. And after this assessment, internal assessment, we also have qualitative feedback from an external board that also provide this additional view or assessment of the journals we index in Redalyc. So this is very important because we know that predatory journals are also, is also a phenomenon that is growing and is unfortunately very sophisticated right now. So Redalyc is a whitelist for diamond open access journals. So this is, for example, how we have this process automated and very transparent. We use these tools for doing the evaluation, but also journals can do a self-evaluation of the quality if they want to be indexed in Redalyc. Everything is on the one website, but they can do this self-assessment, and then we can continue with a exhaustive assessment in Redalyc, and then we ask for this qualitative feedback from the board. Well, this is our numbers by year. We also index the abstracts of all the contents that we have. We have now almost 1.5 million abstracts indexed in the platform. This is our journals by country. As you can see, well, this infrastructure started in Latin America, the Caribbean, and also Spain and Portugal in 2002. But in 2018, we actually expanded our services to journals from all over the world, since they meet the criteria and we can secure they are diamond. So we now have different journals from other countries like, well, India, Africa, some of the rest of Europe. And this is our users by country. As you can see, it's very interesting to identify that diamond actually is representative of, well, I mean, it's consumed by different countries. I mean, we have journals from these countries, but when you see the users, actually they are more diversified around the world. So, and this is the authors. So we should remember that a journal is a global vehicle of communication of science. It doesn't matter exactly that if it is published in one particular country, the journals provide this service for any author I mean, it provides this service in terms of epistemic communities, and this can be reflected here in the map of authors. So we can see how journals, authors, and readers are distributed in the Redalyc database. And this is very interesting to see how this is more, you can see that is more diversified than, for example, when you see the Scopus database, when you can, for example, retrieve articles by citations, and then there you can see that, or maybe there you can't see the global south that is represented there. So if we look at databases just as Scopus, where you can mainly find journals published by commercial corporations, then you can see that they are representative of the North, but actually not. They are not representative of the South. And when we look at the science spectrum through Diamond Open Access journals, then you can see that is a more equitable and more diversified channel of communication. So it's very interesting to see that. And these are, for example, the different web pages, home pages that we have at Redalyc at different levels: country homepage, area, journal, at institutional level as well, and at author homepage. So we have different services for each entity, like the list of journals, but also the scientific output of their communities. For example, we have these here, a University of Lithuania, for example, and we have here the list of journals, but also we can retrieve and read the articles that are published by researchers of the country, and also different metrics. So we can see, for example, where they are publishing, in which topics, the authorship rates, and also the usage, who is downloading, reading all this information worldwide. So you can have this information at different levels in Redalyc. These are the metrics that I was describing just right now. And you can see also all this content, but now instead of retrieving by country or retrieving that content by journal, we can see here all this content that is grouped by the Sustainable Development Goals. So we have different semantic collections that provide access not only to the full text, but also to the database that is also made in SparkQL. So we have these different endpoints of data that you can download the whole database if you want to process it for other purposes. You can download the whole database by each of the SDGs. And this is how we are working together with the Green Open Access, repositories at different levels. In this particular case, we are working with the network La Referencia. As I said before, is the network of national aggregators of institutional repositories. So we work together in order to integrate the articles and metadata coming from Diamond Open Access journals into the institutional repositories or national repositories. So this is a way to take all the content that is published and widespread around Diamond Open Access journals to take it back to the community that actually produced these articles. So to take back these articles and populate the institutional repositories so the communities within an institution or a country can have access to the articles by going to their repository. So I think this is a very good strategy in order to have the best of these two worlds, and also to provide different strategies for just research assessment, for example, populating the CRIS systems and other systems for research assessment. This is actually the case. So we provide all this data to also populate a diversity of solutions, including networks of repositories, aggregators, and CRIS platforms as well. And well, finally, it's very important to notice that Diamond Open Access is not only a conversation between peers or between researchers or among researchers, but actually it's also a content that is widely used by the educational sector. As you can see, for example, looking into the usage of Redalyc in terms, for example, of backlinks, who is referring to the website, you can see that libraries, but also universities and different schools are linking to the content of Redalyc. And this can also be verified if we can see, for example, the network graph of backlinks, where you can see, for example, that this is the Ministry of Science and in Colombia, that is also, for example, having a lot of backlinks from there to Redalyc, but also you can find, for example, the CNRS from France that is also linking back to the Redalyc content, but also different infrastructures like Open Edition, like Hypothesis, and also universities like Harvard. They are using the content, particularly for the students that are in the university abroad. And also it's very interesting to see how the content of Diamond Open Access reflect local research agendas. So it is of huge importance. So we also see how local languages are very important in the content, in communicating the findings that are being published in Diamond Open Access journals, but also research agendas. It's not only the language, but also research agendas. As you can see, for example, in a random a query to our database queries, we can see, for example, that tropical diseases like dengue or different social problems such as rural migration. This is a very common, these two are very common queries that users and readers are doing directly in the database. So this is exactly to show how also research agendas and local problems are being discussed in local languages. And Diamond Open Access is actually providing the opportunity for these problems to be addressed by local communities. This can be reflected also in the articles by language. And we can all see, for example, this content, how they interact among the different data articles, the data and articles, how they interact in order to see, for example, how different topics are interrelated. And we can also see that from this Diamond Open Access. So just to summarize a little bit, I just want to highlight the importance to support Diamond Open Access publishing, because when it is open to authors and readers, it is open for all. It is a collective approach for the benefit of all. It is really a scientific and scholarly communication model, which is multilingual by default, which is more equitable than gold or any other commercial business model around publishing. It is also embodied into libraries, universities, learning systems, repositories, aggregators. So Diamond Open Access is a way to return to the essence of science that really favors epistemic justice, particularly favors global south, the global south communities. It also favors the methodological, linguistic, geographic, and content diversity. So we can rectify some of the existing biases that we can find in, for example, commercial databases that are showing inequalities in the current system. So this is what we do in Redalyc. And finally, just a quick invitation so you can read, and if you're willing to sign the Manifesto on Science as Public Good, non-commercial open access, which is one of the outcomes of the first global summit on diamond open access that was held here in Mexico in 2023. So thank you very much for your attention.